All right, y'all. Coach Dan Palacios of Kinetic Training here at my off-the-grid training facility here in Davie, Florida, South Florida. We're having a beautiful day out here today, and we're going to do a rope flex workout. The rope flex is a great option for having pretty much a stationary cardiovascular and strength training system. Doesn't take up very much space. It's a pretty low footprint, and it can actually be connected in quite a few different ways. As a standalone unit, it has its own stands, but it can also be attached directly to a power rack system. So we're going to have the rope flex rolling here. I've got multiple different positions for connection. So we have a horizontal puller here, and then one down below. When we're going down below, I'll reposition the camera so you can see what the heck we're doing down there. But we're going to go through just a basic warm-up and then some overall circuit training that you can do with the rope flex that includes full body training. So that's going to be upper body, lower body, a lot of functional movement patterns, isolated movement patterns, so you can feel like you're getting your bis, tris, all the pretty muscles, and even some core training in there as well. So let's get it started. We're going to start off with a basic coiling pull. Let's reposition here so you can see that. And I really like to start with the high pulls and the horizontal pulls first so that we can get the blood flowing through the lats and through the spine as we pull. So we reach high to warm up and open up the lats in a really natural way. We have this gentle waggling motion that's happening from side to side. That's the coil there. And as we pull down, we're not just pulling down, we're contracting through the lat and the oblique as we pull. So with every pull, we're feeling that deep contraction on each side of the body. And we're feeling our weight shift from one foot to the other as we do that. Typically go for somewhere between 50 to 60 pulls just to warm it up, get the heart rate going, get some blood flow moving through all those different muscles. And we're not trying to over grip as we pull. Grip just enough to get the rope moving down and focus primarily on your back and shoulders and obliques as you're pulling with each rep here. Starting to feel that lactic acid building up in the shoulders. So we're going to move it on to the horizontal pull. So we'll slide the front rope flex pulley to the back of the horizontal pulley. Now, what's cool about this is the one side has a little bit higher resistance than the other side. So if you want to make it really heavy and get some serious strength training out of it, you really can. So we're going to start pulling here, pulling in close, and again, rotating as I pull with every rep. Using that rotation of my spine to create the pull. Now I can keep that a little bit more isolated by not rotating, but I can already feel that pretty deep in my lats with every pull. So I'm going to add that rotation and feel my hips opening up as I rotate. You'll notice, and here I'll reposition so you can see my lower body. Okay. What we want to see here in the lower body is rotation at the hips. So we're opening up the joint capsule where the head of the femur meets the hip, creating rotation and balance and control from one side of the body to the other. So again, about 50 or 60 pulls here just to get the heart rate going. Okay? Now here, we're going to put it on the lower end. All right, and you'll see that I can grab low and pull high. So we're getting the whole body engaged as we do this work. And again, not over gripping. Using the legs to do the pulling and gripping the rope just enough to move it up, and then using the back and shoulders to pull in. Now here, I can actually get a pretty decent level of resistance as I pull with my back and shoulders and isolate a little bit more using a hinging action. We'll reposition so you can see that. So it becomes more of like an RDL. Okay. Hinging back, squeezing the glutes, as I drive the hips forward, stretching the hamstrings with every rep. And again, not overusing the upper body if I don't need to. Let's take it to the front side here so you can see that. Back it out just a little bit. Okay. Here we're going to direct it forward and get a lot more out of my triceps. I'm really bending that elbow and reaching back as I pull, keeping the rope flex overhead to isolate the tricep. Notice also directing my wrist to drive through, create more power with every pull. I'm not letting it bend my wrist back. So developing stronger wrists and forearms. Your grip strength is absolutely essential to your overall health. Using your feet and creating balance from one side of the body to the other. It's all about how you apply basic mechanics. So as often as you can, work from a 2-foot position or a split stance position. So you'll notice I do quite a bit of switching back and forth between one lead leg and the other. So when I'm positioned here, right, I'm working the same exercise, but then I'm switching so that I can feel that balance and coordination from one side of the body to the other. Typically trying to load the ball of the foot and bow the knees out slightly. That creates more power, stability, and control overall. Then when we have an exercise like a push-up, which is what we're about to do, all right, we're going to put our feet together so we can feel that control happening at the pelvis. Oh, we're losing our camera. There we go. Right here, I have a 2-foot stance. My feet are heels together, toes out, and I'm squeezing my glutes. So as I control through the press here, I'm spreading the rope out, controlling my hips, and using this for push-ups. Now, you want a really solid anchor point to work with. You're not going to have this anchored against something that's not going to hold your weight plus the weight of the rope flex. But this is pretty good. I can get a lot of work done from both angles, not just using the magnetic resistance of the rope flex itself, but now also using my body weight to generate resistance, much like a suspension system that you would hang from your doorway or a rack system. Okay, so let's reposition here so you can see a couple more body weight exercises we can do with the rope flex here. Okay. So that was a push-up. We're going to move into a row here. Okay. So changing positions, gripping the rope, and I'm pulling my body up. The drum of the rope flex is staying in a fixed position so that I can work against my own body weight. I can do that from about a 45-degree position, or I can walk my feet in even closer and work lower and lower positions. As I move higher, I can also work elbows up, working the lower traps and rhomboids together, making sure the posterior delts and the lower traps and rhomboids are all working as a unit. So let's go into a couple of core style movements. We'll drop that down here so you can see that. Use the rope flex to suspend our feet. You see there, I'm using the rope flex to suspend my feet and hold position as I drive through. Do knee tucks, work the core a little bit. We can work push-ups in this position and develop even more core strength. Walk this back a little further. If we go back even further, we can do hamstring curls. You'll see here. That absolutely blows up the hamstrings. So here now, we can work more cardiovascular movement, isolate the upper body, get the upper body moving without even getting up. We're working all the same systems we were before, standing position, but just being more efficient in order to get the heart rate up. High elbow, unilateral, just working that right side, stabilizing, resetting. And then working. Pushing motion. So right here, pushing forward, isolating that push through the pec, through the obliques as we work transversely across the body. We'll do 10 on each side there as we continue to build up a really nice overall profile of movements. The body is really going to adapt well to all these different movement patterns, and you'll feel a lot better than you might traditionally feel if you were doing nothing but isolated training. This is all integrated movement training. So as opposed to just isolating the flexion and extension of the elbow to work the bicep or the tricep, we're working flexion, extension, adduction, rotation across those transverse planes. It's a lot more functional than the average quote-unquote bodybuilding style workout, which is great. Nothing wrong with that, but you'll get a lot more out of your training if you train your body in a bunch of different ways. So that's where cross-training becomes so effective. Learning new skills, developing new talents, and trying out new things that you wouldn't typically think you might like or enjoy. Obviously, those are going to be challenging the first times you do them. But as you master the skills, and as you develop new strengths, it will become a lot more enjoyable. That builds resiliency, confidence in and of itself. Let's take it back up. How are we feeling so far? We have any particular questions about the rope flex here? Any questions, anybody? If not, we'll move on. Go ahead, get the heart rate up a little bit here. So what we're going to do next is a plyometric pull with a squat. So we're going to jump up, grab that rope, and pull down. So it's here. Pull. Pull. What's cool about this is it actually reduces the impact of the landing. So you're getting that plyometric jump, that movement, but as you grab the rope, it's actually keeping your body lighter because the magnetic resistance is pulling through. So when you land, you're a little bit lighter. We're going to do that in a split stance, alternating sides as we pull as well. So right here, pull, pull. working those lunges and working really hard, getting that heart rate up, building up a lot of different movement patterns to get stronger. So if you're doing those right, heart rate's going to be up. You're going to feel the lats, the triceps, the forearms, even the chest from pulling down. Much more functional, integrated movement. That gets your heart rate up, but also builds muscle at the same time. So it's a great HIIT training tool to add into your overall movement patterns that you're already doing in the gym anyway. You're doing lat pull downs, you're doing pull-ups, doing presses, dumbbell presses, all that stuff. Finish up your circuits, do whatever your primary strength circuits are to build muscle, and then move on to something like this for 10 to 15 minutes to get the heart rate up, get the blood flowing, and get those muscles building up some lactic acid and endurance. You can hear me, I'm huffing and puffing, and I do this stuff all the time. So I don't care what kind of shape you're in. If you do the rope flex, you're definitely going to feel it, okay? Let's add a little bit of extra oomph to it here. All right, so I'm going to do a single leg RDL to a single arm inverted row, suspended row. Here, okay, tip forward, lean back, pull forward, back, pull forward. Now this isn't super hard, but it does require some coordination and thought to make sure you're doing everything correctly. Make sure that we get the balance for both sides of the body. So forward, feel that stretch in the hamstring. As I kick back, I control, use that upper body, the transverse plane control in order to pull myself up without falling through the rep or falling off balance. A great way to develop unilateral and contralateral balance, one side of the body to the other, while building up a unique kind of strength and control throughout the entire body. We want to make sure that if we have any movement inconsistencies or imbalances from one side of the body to the next, that we're consistently working those and building on those. So build strength on dysfunction. If you're having an issue in a certain area, press into it, work it. Just make sure you're working it right so that it's creating balance throughout the body, not more compensation. Okay, so those are all some really great ways of modifying your overall training utilizing the rope flex here. And like I said, as you can see, we have the main drum. We have a horizontal pulley, and then we also have the lower pulley there. And most any rope flex system is going to be capable of doing this. Rope flex even has ADA compliant and adaptive training compliant tools as well. So if you have wheelchairs or you have any other kind of orthopedic considerations, this is a great tool to utilize because, again, it's just going to train your body in different ways that you're really not used to. So make sure to head over to ropeflex.com. Use my discount code KINETIC to order either the RX2100 or any of the other units. There's a lot of great units on there that'll fit your specific needs. So if you have a big power squat rack, you can attach it to that. If you have like what I have here, I have a custom wood barn here, so I just drilled some holes and stuck it to that. There's a lot of different ways to attach it. Very, very versatile tool to apply to your daily training, no matter what you're doing. I train a lot of tactical athletes, so we're working with a lot of military, law enforcement, and first responders. They need to have the ability to work their body from these different positions and different angles, but whether you're a bodybuilder or a layman or a traditional athlete, you need that as well. You need to be working your body in positions and movement patterns outside of what you typically do. So if all you do is run all day, then you want to be working your body in different planes of motion other than just the arm swing and the landing patterns of running. If you sit at a desk all day, you definitely need this stuff. Again, great stationary training tool that doesn't take up a ton of space. So if you have a garage gym or a small space to train in, you can get so much done just by having this one unit. It really is a standalone training tool. So make sure to head over to ropeflex.com, use my discount code Kinetic again. We'll see you next time, y'all. Thanks for stopping in at RopeFlex. Live kinetically.